So you may recall that my first ran for mayor, housing was a very, very strong plank in my platform, something I was committed to tackling. And we've come a long way, as one person said, we've come a long way, baby. And frankly, I think we've been successful. It might seem a bit slow, but when you consider that Midland does not actually have a housing responsibility under the Municipal Act, I think we've done quite well. So I'm just going to sort of read here some of the things that we've accomplished. Uh, since 2018, I've created the Mayor's Task Force on Affordable Housing to find successful models for developing housing within the grasp of those not quite able to enter the housing market. And don't confuse it with social housing, because that's not what we're talking about. Persuaded council to purchase 20 acres on Bomb Beach Road for attainable housing, where we can actually start to put, once we get the appropriate legislative framework in place, we can actually put roofs over houses. I've convinced council to contribute $600,000 towards a 32-unit transitional housing project known as Shelter Now 2. A private donor, of course, provided $2 million, and funds from Ontario, Simcoe County, Tay, Tiny, and Penetanguishene were also put in play. Basically, we're putting roofs over more heads yet again. We work as my work as chair of the Economic Development Committee of Simcoe County. We created a working group to address a lack of housing as an economic development issue, not just a social justice issue or a social issue, but an economic development issue. If I'm trying to recruit people and I can't get a place for them to live, I'm not going to be successful. So it's now recognized as such, and the county is taking on the role of looking at how they're going to facilitate housing in the 16 communities within the county, and to expedite that as quickly as possible. I've worked also with Simcoe County to free up $40,000 per year towards improved operation by assuming of the guest house by assuming debt at a very favorable interest rate for the guest house. And of course, it goes without saying, everyone, and I mean everyone, should have access to shelter. And when you think about housing as this a continuum from a shelter through to being able at some point to be successful in participating in the market at market pricing, that's the goal. And we have to be sure that we have enough resources in that continuum so that we can successfully migrate people who, for whatever reason, are unfortunately on the street, families that have been affected by COVID, are able to access housing. I've led budget discussions to create a community improvement program that permits Midland to legally provide incentives for attainable housing throughout the community, housing that's within reach of working people and struggling to enter the market. I say legally because the Municipal Act, under two sections, does not allow lower tier municipalities like Midland to what's known as bonusing or to incent development of housing using municipal resources. By going through a process that you'll be asked to participate in over the next year, we will be able to create a legal framework that the Minister Clark or his successor, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, will sign off on. And then we are in a position to work with the development community and the financial community to get some of this housing in place. So that's a bit of a bureaucratic process, but it's one we have to do. Otherwise, we're in violation of the Municipal Act. So stay tuned and please participate in the process. We've created an environment where 3,500 new homes are in the planning stream and can be built by responsible developers, I emphasize responsible developers, while retaining Midland's unique character and potentially reducing the municipal tax or mill rate. And we've run some numbers that suggest that it's not just possible, it's quite probable. It will then, aside from Midland Bay Landing, it gives the town of Midland, its residents, by sharing the burden of the taxes across a broader population base, we can actually bring the mill rate down, or at least have choices about what we want to do with that. And again, during the budget process, we encourage you to participate. It's when you think about it, what we do at Town Hall is the level of government that most directly affects you, and we want to be sure that we know what you want done. So that's a bit about housing. We've come a long way. We're at the point where we're about to put these instruments in front of you, the public, ask your opinion. It's about what's known as attainable housing. It's not social housing. We can't afford social housing. That's an upper tier responsibility. Upper levels of government, we'll work with them to support that, but it's not our responsibility. So onwards and upwards, housing continues to be a major concern for me, and I will do everything I can here in that county to ensure that we move the yardstick forward and get people roofs over people's heads, so they're not worrying about day-to-day survival. They can actually plan a future.